What's going on, guys? My name is Tom and welcome back to my channel. As you may or may not know, I'm currently an architecture student, and today I will be reacting to a 300 square foot tiny home located in Joshua Tree, California. But before we get into it, as always, make sure you obliterate that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And without further ado, let's jump into the video right now.
I'm going to be showing you and giving you a tour of this 300 square foot tiny home.
Tiny homes are cool, but you have to be a certain type of person in order to live in one of them. You got to be a minimalist, and that's super difficult in our consumerist society that we live in. But the only thing that makes me a little iffy about tiny homes is that they're very copy-paste, meaning you can literally go onto catalogs, there's websites, I'm pretty sure Home Depot has them, honestly, and they're basically a kit of parts where you can just pick a house that you like and you can just build it just about anywhere. So it can start to make some tension and blur the lines between is it actually architecture or not.
If I ever decide to come to Joshua Tree, this is one of the tiny houses I would definitely suggest, or Airbnbs in general.
Yeah, tiny homes have become almost a fad, for lack of a better word, when it comes to living experiences. It seems like everyone wants to try it out in some way, shape, or form, and doing this through Airbnb, I'm sure it gets so many bookings that it's constantly being rented out, and it's obviously much cheaper than a normal sized house, so the return on investment is probably crazy high.
The driveway right up to your Airbnb is really nice, actually. It goes all the way up to this carport.
I will never not find tiny houses comedic. It's like you have this really long driveway, this big plot of land, and then boop, this one little 2-story, 300 square foot house just sitting there.
It does get really hot in Joshua Tree, so it is nice to sometimes have your car under the carport.
Having that canopy is a really nice touch. It provides some shade so the cars don't get as hot, but it's also starting to make the house look a little more elongated, so it's not feeling so small. But I do think it's a missed opportunity. I would like to see it become accessible and almost turn into a rooftop deck where you could put out a small table and some chairs just to have another hangout spot, because considering it's already there, why not make every aspect of it usable?
Your tiny house is right on the other side of that, and this is a beautiful piece of architecture. Let's get up a little bit closer. On the front, you have this beautiful mahogany wood. It is laid out horizontally, just like this. Windows on the front door, and even the windows on the home. It all looks really symmetrical and good.
And notice how everything is going horizontally. That's because they're trying to make that effect that it is much longer than it actually is. If they wanted the reverse to happen, they would have put the panels vertically, and that would make the house appear taller than it actually is. They're basically trying to create an optical illusion, so we get tricked into thinking it's larger.
So you walk into your tiny house and you'll notice that it feels a lot larger than really what it is. It's 300 square feet.
Again, if you look at the floors, that wood paneling is going vertically, making it appear longer than it actually is. It also depends on how you lay the furniture out. In this case, considering they have that open path, it is going to feel larger than if you had to maneuver around anything.
It feels like a normal house, just a little bit shrunk. So the first thing you'd walk into is kind of your living space. So right here, you have a couch, which is really nice to have in an Airbnb tiny house. And this also folds out into a bed.
This is the best part of tiny houses that I think. It's just the way that they use and look at space in a different way, because you have to make the most out of what you have, and creating these flexible moments like this bed that also can turn into a couch.
There's also a dining table kind of right here, and then of course your TV right above it. And
I'm actually a little surprised that they're doing the table like that. If I was doing it, I probably would have had the table embedded into the wall so it can collapse and be put back up, ultimately saving that little extra space.
Now we'll reach your full-size kitchen, I would say. It is a large kitchen for a tiny house. You have everything you would really need in here.
Yeah, that seems like a great size for a kitchen considering it's a tiny home. And at first I was wondering where's the dishwasher, but then I had to remember there's probably only going to be a few people staying here max, so they can just clean it themselves.
I believe the cabinets and everything are IKEA. It's really easy to use IKEA cabinets for kitchens because it's really modular. So for a tiny house, that works out really well.
I agree. I think when you start using these modular components that have a standard size, it's going to start to make it a little easier to lay out the space in the most efficient way possible.
And then you have these floating shelves right behind you with your coffee and everything you would need. Floating shelves are nice. I think it makes the space feel a lot more open.
It does look very Instagrammable and Pinteresty, and I'm sure that's part of the aesthetic they were going for considering it's an Airbnb.
And now you are in your master bedroom, which is the entire level upstairs. So it's really spacious. bedroom, I would say.
See, now this is minimalism. You got your bed, you got your desk, you got your closet, like that's all you need.
I have this little vanity right here, a side table, you even have this chair right here to get ready on, and then you have a mirror to help you get ready in.
I do want to see a larger mirror though. I think that would make the space feel a lot more open.
You can walk outside, and now we're on your 79 square foot balcony, which doesn't sound like a lot of space, but for a tiny house to have a balcony, I think it is awesome to have. You have a, I would say, pretty good view of the whole surrounding landscape.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really that much to look at, but balconies are always nice, you know, get some fresh air.
There's also even a bench over here for you to lounge on.
See, right there, I want to see that fence go all the way down over the canopy and have that be accessible. I really just don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to use it.
The rest of your backyard, it's empty, so it's for you to use as your playground out here. If you bring in games or if you have your friends coming along, you can play it all out here. I think it's a nice piece of property being in the Mojave Desert. So that is your tiny home located right next to Joshua Tree National Park.
Overall, I think it's a pretty successful tiny house. There is a lot of natural light getting into the space, so that definitely will help make it feel more airy and more open. I think the details on the facade were strategic and smart, so it makes it feel a little larger than it actually is. But there were a few things that I would have done a little differently, such as that canopy, as well as that table on the inside, as I mentioned earlier. The other thing that came across my mind was, considering that the property is so large, why not add another 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 tiny houses, depending on how many you could fit, and just put them all up on Airbnb too. And then it almost starts to become this mini community where you could then put a central hangout space where maybe there's a fire pit or a movie screen or something like that. And that way all the people who are renting these tiny houses out have this communal area where they can all gather together. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. As always, let me know what you think of this tiny house in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn post notifications on so you get notified every time when I upload. Thank you again so much for watching, and until next time.